Trump is now the president, and this could potentially impact them, whether it is incoming student or they are in United States, whether they are on OPT, H1B, and all of it. What are your thoughts?
If you look at Trump's actions against his announcements, there's a difference. So the student who applies for a visa, I don't think should see much of a difference except maybe a delay. Bigger questions are what happens to OPT, STEM OPT, and H1B.
Let's say they want to make changes to OPT or STEM OPT. How long does it take to actually make it happen?
H1Bs, they definitely wanted to reform, and some of their reforms were so bizarre that they ended up with saying that you need to be paid at least level X salary. And the next thing is that caused some really strange results. He could make deeper vetting of the F1 visa applicants a priority. So they look at your social media, and that could add to the processing times. Democrats are pro-immigration. Republicans traditionally are considered to be anti-immigration. But Democrats are pro-labor and Republicans are pro-business. If all the skilled immigrants left from the United States, this country will come to a halt.
A lot of media houses saying that he's going to remove OPT.
Things will change, that is for sure, but they won't change as rapidly as we think they could. So students who've got admission, should they continue their plans to come to US?
Trump has won US 2024 election. He's going to be the president of United States. Now I know that you're worried, you're not sure what does this mean for you. I totally get it because you've been sending me a lot of DMs and make a video on this topic. So I and Rajiv G is who is a US immigration lawyer, we got together. It's 3 a.m. when we filmed this video. So as soon as we got the result out, we decided to talk about it. It is going to be a very, very insightful conversation, so you understand what's coming your way. Please do not panic. Understand what Rajiv Ji is trying to say. There is two sides of Trump winning. One is the economy side, and second is the immigration side. In my opinion, I feel that he will make economy better again. Focus is the illegal immigration, which is what his going to be the another focus. Now this will impact immigration, and how will this impact and what will it impact for the legal people who are trying to do everything legally, buy book, buy paper. Please watch the entire video so you understand before you start panicking. And we will keep posting any videos, anything that is alarm that, oh my gosh, we need to let people know. We will do that. Me and Rajiv Ji will make these videos. So subscribe if you haven't already, so you get all the updates. There are two things that I want to quickly talk about. First is I'm in India right now, and I am organizing in-person workshop for studying in United States. So if you're planning to go in spring or fall 2025, this is a must come. Purdue University is going to be with me. There's going to be lots and lots of insightful discussions. It is in person in 5 cities. Link is in the description. Please register. Limited seats. Already 60% of the seats are filled up. I do not want you to miss it. Plus, we are also giving away iPhone and all the other gifts and valuable information. So you also get to be part of exclusive WhatsApp group with me. So if you come to the event and all of that. So again, I'm in India. Please come to the event so I get to meet you and we can talk more about it. Link will be in the description. Second is Ultimate Job Hunting course is on 50% sale right now. It's not going to be there after next week. So link is again in the description. Go and get it. We have now 1200 plus students. We have Ultimate WhatsApp group. They get updates about all of this before anybody else because they are part of my WhatsApp group and I talk to them daily basis, etc. You will see it. But please, if you are interested in finding a job, understanding the job market, being part of the job seekers community, link will be in the description. 50% Diwali sale is going on. That's why I'm talking about it. And now enjoy the conversation with Rajiv G, who's a US immigration lawyer, on how Trump's winning will impact US immigration, legal immigration. See you guys. All right, Rajiv Ji, let's start it. For those of you who don't know, Rajiv Ji is US immigration lawyer, and we do live sessions every Saturday, Wednesday, whenever we do it. But Rajiv Ji, I've been getting lots and lots of DMs and messages that they are worried that Trump is now the president, and this could potentially impact them, whether it is incoming student or they are in United States, whether they are on OPT, H1B, and all of it. What are your thoughts? How could this impact? Could this even impact and all of that?
It's a little early for us to know for sure, but we can look at the fragments and the variables that we already know about. I'll start with the bottom line. I would just say don't change any of your plans. continue doing what you're doing, because we will not be able to know until we see a formal policy statement. Now,
And when you say formal policy, can you clarify what that means?
typically what happens is most political, I won't call them a party itself, but let's say political power centers will announce their intentions. Usually it's some kind of a policy statement, or some kind of usually on their own agenda, they will announce what they plan to do. The focus seems to be a lot more on two aspects which Trump thought were important. My own opinions about Trump aside, America has chosen him without any doubt. The kind of reception he has received, I thought this was almost like a setup. But there
Mm.
is no way you can you can gerrymander, or you can not gerrymander, you can rig votes in
Yeah,
states. That's not possible.
right. Yeah.
The first I'll talk about the underlying policies, and then I'll talk about the actors, because Trump's administration has focused a lot more on their own actors than policy, because he can be convinced of anything. You talk to him, unless it's something that costs him money, or it's something that he feels is red meat for his own followers, he can be convinced of anything, because
Mm.
he doesn't have a grasp on policy. He's not an administrator. So we will need to look at who his influencers are going to be. Now, going back to what he can and cannot do. Last time when he came to power, he didn't have the support of the legislature. This time, they've got the Senate. They have a majority in the Senate.
Yeah.
I think they'll have a majority in the House. Okay. I haven't seen the results so far, but Democrats were way behind when I
Hmm.
looked at it, about 20,
Yeah.
25 seats behind.
Yep.
So it looks like they have both houses. They have the White House. This is a very powerful combination.
Mm.
The only thing that remains to check that power is the courts. And many of the courts have already been filled by some judges who have proven to be more prone to issue Trump sided orders than obey the Constitution. At least that is what it looks like to me as a lawyer. That context understood, there's a limit to what any government can do without legislative approval. So ultimately, you have to change the laws.
Mm.
You can change the regulations somewhat, like they tried to change. They had it on their regulatory agenda to take away STEM OPT, but it never got through. And this is where the actors are involved, because there were power centers within the Trump administration who were pro business and pro skilled immigration, and they didn't want to see this kind of damage done to the legal immigration system. Those power centers are not there anymore. Okay.
Mm.
So in this administration, Steve Miller is probably going to be the most influential voice on immigration, and he is the most rabid, most unreasonable anti-immigrant that I have ever seen in my life.
Mm.
Okay. There are not very many people I feel such antipathy, such dislike towards than Steve Miller, who himself comes from immigrant stock. They tried to do a lot of things, including taking away H-4EADs, etc., the last time they were around. So this is where it's important to understand who the power centers are and how they are going to act. In one podcast, Trump had said, I want everybody who studies in USA, even if they do a 2-year degree,
Yeah.
to get their green card when they leave
Yeah.
college. Now, this is not a new idea. This
Mm.
idea was floated back in the last major immigration reform that passed the Senate but failed in the House.
Mm.
Going back to when things could start getting affected. So we just talked about the student and the H4. There's also going to be a focus on H1, and a lot depends upon whether H1 are considered to be a problem or a solution.
Mm.
If you look at Trump's actions against his announcements, there's a difference. So he'll
Hmm.
say that H1Bs are bad for us, and then Truth Social employs H1B workers. He employs copious number of H2B workers. So what they say and what they do are two different things.
Yeah, I mean, Elon, he's going to appoint Elon Musk accordingly. And Tesla has the massive H1B employees. So I don't know if they can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but Elon Musk himself came to this country as an immigrant, as a student. So
right.
again, not
What
one.
about his wife? Same, right? His
Uh,
wife as
I
well?
don't know anything about his wife. Never met the
Hmm.
guy. Never cared to meet him. He's not one of my favorite people. Okay.
Not Elon's Musk wife. I'm talking about Trump's wife.
Trump's wife has a very interesting history. I don't know how much of that is true, but yeah, let's say that she also came on an
Hmm.
H1B, which is for fashion models and stuff. That's what I remember. Okay.
Okay.
So students who've got admission, should they continue their plans to come to USA? Absolutely. Why not? Okay. So I'm going to start with the practical advice. Unless we hear something which is so detrimental to your careers that you can't stay in the US after you get your degree here, there is really no way you can start planning based on that. Remember one thing, even when you have the two houses, you have the Senate and the House of Representatives, it's difficult to get things passed unless there is a consensus built. Some kind of consensus has to be built. So the tradition in Senate is that you need to pass things by a majority of 60, not 51.
Hmm.
That's the tradition. Okay. Trump's people are not known to maintain tradition. So we don't know what's going to happen there. Are they going to take away those traditions and put in place simple majority? But even there, like I said, there is going to be at least some compromise necessary. However, you also need to understand that winning at such a large level gives Trump a lot more power than he had the last time around. Because the Republican Party would now think that he's really the person that they want to get behind. They were already behind him.
Hmm.
So, what is going to happen to, first of all, student visa when you apply? If you come from one of the Muslim countries which he had banned the last time around, I think you'll see some impact. I also think that they are going to continue the tradition of um, ideological testing. What do you believe in? Are you pro Hamas? Are you pro Palestine? And if you are, we're not going to let you in.
Hmm.
Okay. I think starting from the visa stamping part, so when you come to the US, what if you want to work illegally at a restaurant or something? I think enforcement will be a big priority.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, he says he's going to deport X million people, um,
Right.
beginning
On
with,
day one.
beginning
Hmm.
with beginning with criminal aliens, and that is not a deplorable goal in any way. I can't say that
Hmm.
I'm against that. What I'm against is the methodology they will use. So, for example, if they start using local law enforcement, that makes it very difficult for people to, in the immigrant community, to report crime because the police will be looking at your immigration status also. Okay. So, the student who applies for a visa, I don't think should see much of a difference except maybe a delay. Bigger questions are what happens to OPT, STEM OPT, and H1B, which are the typical vehicles of further staying in the US. Because one of the proposals in the Trump administration was after you do your education, you can't get an H1B until you go outside for 10 years, get your
Hmm.
experience, then come back. Or another proposal was 2 years, sort of like a J1 restriction. I personally think that's unlikely, but I also thought that Trump winning was impossible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're a shock to a lot of us. And there's, like I said, it's a decisive victory. Even in popular vote, he was like, what, 5 million votes ahead? That's the choice of the people, and we have to live with that. We don't know what is going to happen to OPT and STEM OPT because now they have the muscle to even change the laws if they want. But changing laws,
How long does it take? Like, if let's say they want to make changes to OPT or STEM OPT, how long does it take to actually make it happen?
I think it's going to take many months. Uh, if I can't say more than that, because see what happens is everyone has a political capital, a political cachet. How much can you push things? How much can you push people to be on your side? So their political cachet is going to be spent more on illegal immigration. That's what I feel.
Hmm.
Okay. But they do have a very large political cachet this time around.
Hmm.
Their
Yeah.
political capital is far greater than ever in the history of the last 30 years or so I've seen. H1Bs, they definitely wanted to reform, and some of their reforms were so bizarre that they ended up with saying that you need to be paid at least level X salary. Um, and the next thing is that caused some really strange results. Now, even though Trump professes to have been educated in the best institutions in this country, he also hides his grades. So, how much does he value education? I don't think. I don't think he does personally.
Hmm.
Okay, but there are people in his influence group, including Elon Musk. My God, I can't believe I have to look to Elon Musk for reasonableness. See, almighty dollar is the motivator for most of these people.
Hmm.
What do you think? Um, to some extent, Elon Musk wants to see some power and influence in the public eye, but what does he really want? He wants government contracts. So his SpaceX is largely funded by you and me. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so for people like Elon Musk and some other people who have supported Trump's efforts from the high tech industry, they might have a voice and they might have a seat at the table when these things are decided. Coming back to the question, how quickly can these be implemented? So, policy can be implemented overnight.
Hmm.
What kind of policies can Trump put into place overnight? One, he could put a Muslim ban again. He could make deeper vetting of the F1 visa applicants a priority. So they look at your social media, and that could add to the processing times. Okay.
Hmm.
So last time, what they did was with the H1Bs, for example, what they could not change by law because they didn't have the muscle. This time they do. They changed by policy. So they started delaying the H1B adjudications. The rate of denial was, trying to remember, I think it was like 6 times higher than under the Biden administration, something like that.
Hmm.
It was several times higher. Started asking for unreasonable documentation. All of this can be done by policy. That can be done overnight. Can they take away STEM OPT by policy? No. That needs a process. Okay.
Hmm.
Now remember, Democrats may have been outvoted by the number of people, but I won't believe in anybody's sense of decency. I don't believe in that anymore. I used to. I believe in self-interest. Everybody has a self-interest. So the ultimately, what we'll have to see what happens with which self-interest prevails in what decision.
Hmm.
See, decision making is not that easy. If you are the dictator of a country, which he says he will be for on day one, you can do a lot of things and not care about public opinion. But when you are getting voted and you have power positions and you have power centers, different people want different things. See, there has been a very weird dynamic in politics in the United States, which I noticed when I started looking at what politicians were doing. Democrats are pro-immigration.
Mm.
They have a natural tendency to favor immigration. Republicans traditionally are considered to be anti-immigration, but Democrats are pro-labor and Republicans are pro-business.
Mm.
So when it comes to skilled immigration, everything gets topsy-turvy. I, a Democrat, like immigration, but I want to protect local labor. I, a Republican, hate immigration, but I want skilled workers and
Mm.
professional workers. Okay. So that's why I said it's easier said than done. You can say, oh, I'm going to do
Mm.
this and I'm going to do that. If immigrants left, all the skilled immigrants left from the United States, this country will come to a halt.
Mm.
It's easy
Yeah.
to say. And the question is, I saw a very powerful question from somebody in UK. He was an immigrant. And his question was, when do I stop being an immigrant? I've lived in this country 25 years, 30
Mm.
years, 35 years. When do I stop being an immigrant?
Mm.
And why are you, who's lived here as an immigrant from immigrant extraction, you were not born here. No, you were not, I mean, your roots are not from here. When do we stop being immigrants? That's a very powerful question. So we've talked about F1s, we've talked about H1s, we talked about H4, which is likely to come under pressure. We've talked about green cards to a certain extent. Last time they tried to make the PERM process, the labor certification process, very difficult too. What about national interest waivers, EB1s, these types of cases? And I think these will be probably low in the priority list because they still net us a lot of great talent. But
Mm.
I don't know until I see formal policy statements and I see what they intend to do. And I
Mm.
also need to see who are the people who call the shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then we will know better. Um, but right now, don't change any plans. Wait and watch.
A lot of media houses. I saw an article from Times of India saying that he's going to remove OPT. I mean, I don't think that's true, but
See, actually, Times, I was supposed to give an opinion to Times. They had asked me, but I didn't have time. I was very busy with the deadline. So I told them I won't have time. And actually, the only opinion I had prepared or I had thought about was Kamala Harris winning. I could not even think that if Kamala
mm,
Harris wins this, because they wanted to see both sides. What happens
mm,
is Kamala Harris wins, and what happens is, if I said, I'm sorry, I just don't have the time. I wish I could. So they did a good job, but everybody here is making guesses,
yeah,
right? We don't know what's going to happen.
yeah,
Um, see, also depending upon Trump is not going to sit down and make all the policy himself. He cannot. Ultimately, it is the power centers that matter. How much power will Steve Miller have? How much power will Elon Musk have? How much power will XYZ people have? Um, so there's a lot to be looked at, and I am not sure they are going to be able to cripple legal immigration, skilled immigration to that extent as they can family-based immigration. And there is a lot of support um, for this kind of what they call I forgot the name, but chain migration, which is basically I can sponsor my brother, I can sponsor my father.
mm,
I don't
yeah,
think they should touch parents, but they might remove, again, I mean, that's not what they have said the last time around. But again, implementing it, doing it, because remember, there's a very powerful Indian lobby also on his side.
mm,
A
yeah,
lot of Indian support, much to my shame. He was supported by a lot of Indian people. And again, I am disappointed, but that is my own opinion. I cannot disrespect other people's opinions. Just like somebody I see as a demon, somebody else sees as a little god. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But things will change, that is for sure. But they won't change as rapidly as we think they could.
mm. Yeah. So, bottom line for students who are planning to come, don't change the plans because we don't know what's going to happen. And people who are applying for OPT and STEM OPT, again, continue the plan as you would.
Absolutely. See,
Yeah.
remember, if you already have it, it's not possible to take it.
Right.
You have already received an OPT approval. It's very difficult to take that away.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we are up at 3:30 a.m. in the morning in USA. We are
Yeah.
keeping track of these things. I read up a lot. I stay in touch with whatever is going on. We'll keep you
Yeah.
updated. If I
Yes.
find any alarming developments, I'm sure Yudi will be calling me. Oh, can we talk, Rajiv?
Yes. Thank you
No,
for.
I've been waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning because my body just does not, it refuses to accept the daylight saving time or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
I knew you would be sleeping, but I was like, I'll might as well just text you. So when you wake up, you will. But I know you also wake up at 3,
Yeah,
4.
3 is
So
normal, but 2 a.m. is abnormal. It's because it's the old 3, and my body says, I don't care what your clock says. It's time for you to wake
yeah,
up, get to work, just don't sit around.
right.
So,
Yeah, love it. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Rajiv G, for doing this, and I'll keep you posted. Um,
are we doing the Saturday call?
yes. Yeah.
And remember, it'll be an hour earlier now.
Oh, right. Yes. I'm
Uh,
sure this is the same questions we will be getting
yeah,
on Saturday.
let's talk to everyone. Yeah, panic mat karo. It's not something. I mean, I don't like what's happening, but I don't believe in decency anymore. But I do believe in self-interest. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they are not doing it for you; they are doing it for themselves.
That is it for this video. I hope you found it valuable and insightful. Like I said, we will continue to make videos on any topic that can be concerning to legal immigration or to students, H1B people, green card, and all of it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep smiling and keep hustling. You gotta hustle every single day.